Joining us now is Alamogordo Tigers head football coach AJ Cisco, coming off a win, which is always a nice thing.
It's always good to come in here after a win.
Yeah, for sure. And a district win and an absolutely crucial win that puts you guys in position to have a chance at the playoffs if you guys can take care of business here at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, we control our own destiny. That's something we've told our kids going into the Cruces game, that we wanted to have that ability and that opportunity to be able to do. And our kids played enough, made enough plays to get that done and put us in that situation.
Yeah, it was one of those. I thought that obviously the defense again played a stellar game, and I didn't think the offense played poorly. Just couldn't quite finish off drives, which unfortunately has kind of been the thing for you guys at times throughout the year. But let's start off by talking about the defense again. I mean, we've been talking about these guys are ball hawks and playmakers. You had so many guys and so many different guys make plays on.
Yeah, and that's a credit to our defense staff, our kids buying into what we do. We will give up some yards. I mean, if people look at us, we give up yards, and I don't want to say it's that bend not break mentality, but we're going to force you into a bad decision at some point, and we're going to capitalize on it, take advantage of it. And I couldn't be proud of our kids nonstop. I mean, they're on the field a lot, especially with the tempo we push. But they don't complain. They just get after. They keep grinding along, keep doing what their coach will do, and make plays.
And, it's Anthony, who's had, I think he's up to, 4 or 5 interceptions on the season now.
There's a constant battle between him and Dre.
Yeah.
Who's going to get more? Who's DB1?
Yeah, but you know what? That's good to have that kind of competition within the team, for
Absolutely.
Sure. So, and then, your linebacker core has another amazing game with Devon and Ryan and Damon and Elijah. I mean, all of them had an excellent game for you guys.
Yeah, and then you throw in Elias Mata,
yeah,
who goes in there and spot plays. And even Mason Pittman had a huge game for us. Mata's the one that got that big turnover that popped it out to Rusty on the fumble, and that's putting a helmet on a football when a kid's bottled up. So that's that whole group, and you go back to Mason Tripp up front and Aiden Collazo and Rusty. Their job is to let those backers run free and make plays. And if you go back and watch film, you see our linebackers are free, and Ryan Stovall's running around, Damon's running around, getting to make plays and make tackles.
And you're making plays on all facets of the game on top of, getting another block punts. You guys, and mind you got a little bit of help. They had a poor snap, but still Ryan's got to get back there and make the block.
And you've been around us long enough. We don't try to set up returns. We're going to go block every kick we can. Those are huge momentum changes. The bad part is we didn't score. I mean, we get the ball inside the 5 and go 3 and out, and then a lot of that's due to injuries and us trying to plug in positions with a couple kids got hurt in that game. But Braden did a good job, made 2 big field goals for us that were huge coming to the end of the game.
Yeah, and I thought Elijah and Damon had really good games offensively. It was just obviously trying to find the consistency. And once again, you guys converting on third down with passes as well. You had 2 or 3 of those that were huge in that game.
Yeah, too. No, and that's our offensive linemen getting us sometimes continuing to improve in that facet. We're doing some things in pass pro wise to get better at it. Elijah's getting more confident doing it. Our receivers are doing a better job of making plays, running the correct routes. And that's the growth from where we were at against Valencia to where we're at now. And we're not where we want to be. We got to continue to get better, but we had a big game. Our kids made plays when they need to. I'd like it to be a little bit easier to win a game. Like get the 4th down and 4 conversion done, or not give them a 4th and 17. But kids play hard. Kids are keep improving. We can't complain about any of that. And
then the overall scope of things, which we had talked about the last couple of weeks, was winning a close game. And you guys weren't able to do it against Riverside. You weren't able to do it against Carlsbad. You managed, and it looked like for a little bit there that Las Cruces was going to find a way to win that game at the end. But the kids made some plays, and it was a combination, especially there at the end. You got the pressure on the quarterback, and then Devon, of course, coming away with the interception.
Yeah, and it's then not even as a coach, just watching the kids celebrating, being around the kids when they do something like that. And something that we've been talking about a long time is learning how to win close games, learning how to win in those situations, which this group has never had to do. And you go back to even last year, we lost those 2 games by 1 point. This group hasn't won a close game and won those, and they finally found a way to make a play when we needed to end the game and win it. That was a big one.
Yeah, it was interesting. I saw Ryan actually after the game standing out in midfield in the rain, just kind of soaking it all in. I thought that was, and you see seniors do that maybe on senior night, but it was kind of interesting to see him do that.
Everybody said it's the first time since 06 since we haven't played Cruces since, in a long time. 2013. So it's been a while, like that, yeah. So. But to go into the Field of Dreams and win and beat Cruces or Centennial or Oregon Mountain or Mayfield is a big deal anyways. That's a tough place to play. That's a football crazy town that gets after it. Those are very traditional, rich programs, and that's a huge deal to beat one of those big dogs that's been a big dog in this state for a very, very long time.
Yeah, and especially with the move up in classification, because at the beginning of the year we're all going, man, if you guys are still in 5A, look at where you'd be. And now, this is the reality, but you guys are giving yourself a chance to make the playoffs in 6A.
Yeah, and we control what we can control, and we tell our kids that. And beating Cruces was a huge deal to get into it because we control our own destiny. We got to win another game somewhere along this line to give us a shot at it, which we think we got a shot this week, and we think we're going to have a shot next week and going into the final week. But it's a credit to the kids who we told them from day one when we got place 6, they were not complaining about it. We're going to put a chip on our shoulder and go do what we do and see where the chips fall.
And I'm sure hey, guys, enjoy this win, but we're back to work this week, and you guys have probably your toughest test so far this season against the Hobbs Eagles.
Yeah, and they did. We got to enjoy it, and even as a coach, I had to step back because they're a little frustrated how that thing finished, and we didn't finish it as easily as we could have at the end, but took a step back, said we won. Let's celebrate it. Let's enjoy it. And then when we get back to work on Monday, it's back to getting ready for Hobbs, and our kids know that our goals will be 1-0 come Saturday afternoon.
Well, this Hobbs team obviously has played really well. They're coming off their first loss. It was a really close game between them and Centennial. That was, obviously those two teams, at least up to this point this season, have been the best two teams in the district.
And Hobbs is the top 4 team in the state. I mean, they've played like that all year. Centennial, I have Centennial as the number 1 team in the state. You beat Cleveland and play La Cueva on the road both games. And Hobbs is a quality football program. Coach Stevens has done a great job in his 3. I think he's in year 3 or year 4 over there of turning that place around. They run the ball a lot more than they used to. They're huge up front. They got great skill kids. The big thing I think that gets them going this year is their quarterback. It's a quarterback, it's a senior that was not the quarterback last year, but he's a playmaker. And I really think he makes that group go because they've got athletes in the Trevino kid in the slot. They got the Van Lettingham kid as a split, and then the running backs. I mean, he makes that whole thing go, and they're very explosive offensively.
So they run out of the spread, or they're going to be running similar to what we've seen with like Cruces and Carlsbad?
No, it'll be spread.
Spread, okay.
They'll be in 1 back or 2 back personnel.
Okay, so it'll be a little bit more like what you saw earlier in the season, not the last couple of weeks, so kind of back to that, which, I feel like the defense had played pretty well against spread defense earlier on in the year.
We can. I mean, and that's one of those things we got to be better at it. We got to continue to improve. It's something we haven't seen in a while because we've had Carlsbad and Cruces last 2 weeks. They're going to line up and getting double wings and 2 tight ends, and it goes back to us playing Riverside. It was the last time we saw it, and we'll be okay. I think athletically we match up with them. They got kids that can break one and make it house calls real fast, and they're very well coached. And we got our hands full, sorry, but our kids are for the challenge.
Yeah, and for you guys offensively, I mean, the big thing is you guys want to get you want a little bit more like what we saw in Carlsbad. You guys are able to get up over 30 points. You're probably going to have to score a little bit more in order to go out there and get a win against Hobbs this week.
Yeah, you would think that on paper, but hopefully our defense comes out and plays well. But we got to score, and that goes back to the Cruces game where we felt like we left 14 points on the field when we had to kick field goals that we should have scored on and made that game 21-3 going into halftime. But we got to execute on those opportunities when we get inside the red zone and put touchdowns on the board, not leave it to field goals because we're going to need touchdowns to beat Hobbs. But I thought I thought we played a pretty good game offensively against Cruces. I thought we moved the ball at times very well. We just never had the ball. Yeah. And that's something that we got to be able to do is sustain our drives. It's not necessarily milking the clock. But we just want to have long drives, sustain drives, and end with points.
For sure. And next to last home game of the year as well. Just 3 games overall left, but obviously only 2 home games left in the season. So obviously an opportunity for the fans to come out and support these kids.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, Saturday's a little awkward, but we tell our kids this is what playoffs are in New Mexico, so embrace it. It's not new for us. We practice on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock, so it's a normal time for us to get out there with the sun up. We're not going to have band here. Good luck to them. They're going to a competition. We want to have cheerleaders out there, so we need as many fans as we can. Let's make this a raucous environment and an awkward little Saturday deal, but let's have a little bit of fun with it.
And of course, I mean, it's a different aspect for both teams. So you guys are both going to have that where Saturday afternoon games in the regular season. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. You guys have 2 Saturday games in a row coming up. So.
Yeah, no, and it ties in well. It didn't put us on a short week. We got an extra day of rest going into this week, and we'll be a normal week next week, and then tie into Oregon Mountain. But like we tell our kids, it's Saturday. This is when playoff games are won. This is when you play playoff games, and if we make the playoffs, we're going to have a Saturday game somewhere. So this is what we got to get used to and embrace it.
Yeah, much better than those Thursday games we had last year.
Yeah, you're not lying, man. You're not lying.
Yeah, I'll knock on wood.
I'm missing the Aggie UNM game, so if I'm going to miss it, I'm going to miss it for a good reason.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think we'll probably be about done by the time that one goes on. So
you might be able to make it. I'll still be.
Well, no. I know. I mean, not to go and see it in person, but yeah. Anyway, that'll be for those of you wondering. That'll be coming on right after we go off the air for the broadcast. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting game between the Tigers and the Eagles, and good luck this week.
I appreciate it, man. Go Tigers.